Zimbabwe ndozvo zvinoita. Thank you so much for choosing Zimnet Radio and for listening right now. This is what we do every Thursday, coming up here with different topics that we discuss, and most of the stuff is politics of Zimbabwe, and just getting to the bottom of what's happening in Zimbabwe. We are desperate. Especially some of us who are living in the diaspora, we are desperate to have a good Zimbabwe where we can go back and enjoy and get jobs and work, and have our family around us, because living in diaspora is not as easy as people think it is. People working every day and missing their families back home, and some can't even attend funerals of their loved ones and relatives back home. So these are the things that really affect us. But my time is 8 minutes after the hour of 10. My name is DJ Sodza, and last week we discussed a bit about Nyayema vendor that are being, expelled, or rather not allowed to sell their goods in the CBD in Harare there. And, people contributed. Thank you so much. And we also exhausted. In fact, there was lots of analysis of what the president was saying at Davos there, about how he intends to run Zimbabwe, about when the elections are going to be held, and the rest of it. But anyway, the critics were there, and we critique it here. That's what we do. Now, for some of you out there who might not be able to get in touch with us here through our Skype to participate live on air, you can do that now. You can participate through our WhatsApp platform. All you got to do is write me your messages. My WhatsApp number here, Kuma Studios, 0798 4455349. That's 0798 4455349. Drop us a message there. You might want to differ with what the people on the panel will be saying. You might want to suggest a topic for us to talk about. Or you might just want to say hello to the DJ. That's always welcome as well. Right. A few things we want to touch on today. We are told that Amai Mujuru was involved in a bit of a fracas there in Glenora this morning, where he was addressing, I don't know, it was kind of a rally there, and a lot of people were saying quite jambanja, and it looks like these are ZANU-PF youth that has been sent there and whatnot. We just don't know the real truth of it. But if you have got information about it, please feel free to let us know what has happened there with all the pictures coming. Someone was saying, Amai Mujuru has suffered, some jaw problem, mandible, and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, we don't have the full story of it. Now, if you have this full story of it, let us know. What did you hear, from people back home? What happened there? Now, if it's sort of violence, is it the start of the violence that we know pre-general election or not? Yet Mnangagwa is running around saying that we want free and fair election in Zimbabwe. I'm just hoping that this is just a one-off, or it never happened, because we don't want violence, really, especially leading to the general elections like this. It reminds me of those old days. But anyhow, there's a story that someone has sent me here as well. Let me see if I can fish it out here. Zviri kunzi kwanziko Joyce Mujuru has told Studio 7 that she met former President Robert Mugabe at his home earlier this week. Apparently, Mugabe expressed regret at her sacking in 2014, saying he had been misled. Also suggested he believed the change of government last November was totally illegal. Apparently, Mugabe feels betrayed by the boys who, in his view, allowed the gun to lead the pen. He seems to forget that the gun kept him in power in 2008. That is Mkoma Alex Magaisa there writing. I don't know how far true that story is, but that's what he's been writing here on Twitter. Jono Moyo was on SABC. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I might be wrong here. It looks like he is now residing there in South Africa, because he looked very relaxed, chatting to SABC there. And there was quite a lot he said on that interview. Some people are saying we should not listen to this man at all. This is a deluded man who is like, what do you call it? It's like a fish that has been taken out of water now. That's why achingo wukura zvisina basa, because he is not part of the regime now. But anyhow, akataura nyaya kuti Itai Dzamara was indeed abducted. But why do you wait all these years to tell us kuti Itai Dzamara was abducted? This is the man who went on Twitter and say kuti Dzamara was never abducted, right? When he was enjoying the fruits in the government. Now he is saying he was indeed abducted. What do you believe? Really? Should we believe this man? I wonder. Let me welcome the panel for today. Sally, welcome to the show.
Thank you, DJ Sodza. Good evening, DJ Sodza. Good evening, Rose. Good evening, Tete. Good evening, Sekuru. I think you're there. And good evening, Zimbabweans, wherever you are. I hope you've had a good week and that you are ready to join us here on the show this evening.
Thank you so much, Sally, for that. Tete Rosie in America there. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Aha, lovely. I think people are doing quite well.
Very well, thank you.
In Germany there, how are you, Teteno Mazulu?
Mazulu.
Very well, thank you. I greet you all tonight.
Thank you so much. Right. Thank you so much. Where have you been the past 3-4 weeks? We haven't seen you.
Yeah, absolutely. My Skype was down.
Oh, okay.
And I couldn't possibly make it work.
Did you forget?
Had to wait for
Did you forget to pay for your internet there?
No, my son had to come and do this. Everything else was working, just the Skype.
All right. Thank you so much, Tete. Sekuru, welcome to the show.
Filipi nematambudziko eArsenal weduwe. Makadi muri eZimbabwe.
Aiwa, tinofara. Sekuru.
Yes.
Whilst you are still there, who is the best dancer between Emmanuel Adebayo and Pierre Obamayang?
I don't care who is the dancer. I just want to see who is the best goal scorer. I think Obamayang is a better goal scorer.
All right. Okay, Sekuru. Thank you so much. Good luck to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Right. Okay, guys.
He's a
Right. Let's start. We've got quite a lot of things here we need to talk about. Let me start nenyaya Amai Mujuru. Sally, did you hear anything about what happened there? Did anything happen at all?
You know, I was actually really, really shocked, number one, okay, because knowing Mnangagwa and how desperate he is to be taken
be
in
nice.
by the West.
To be nice.
No, yeah, to be taken in by the West, okay? I know the man. I know what he is. He's the killer of Baghdad, okay, as far as I'm concerned. And a leopard doesn't change its spots. But at the same time, I know that the man is a professional killer, okay? And he's not going to take on such a high-profile person, okay? But then I forgot, hang on a minute. The president's not Mnangagwa, it's Chiwenga. Now, Chiwenga, excuse my expression, is politically illiterate, okay? All he knows is the army and the way that goes, and he's controlled it, he's got it out to do all sorts of terrible things before this, okay? So, but now I'm really, really frightened because whoever it is, whether it's Mnangagwa, which I don't really believe because he likes to do things in the shadows, okay, not so blast out like that, especially where he's trying to get in, okay? So I don't believe that it was him per se, okay? But if they are prepared, knowing that they want to be accepted by the West, if they are prepared to take on abuse and violence and everything against such a high-profile figure, then the little bit of limit that they might have had before, okay, I'm not saying that they did have, I said might have had, has disappeared. It's gone. They will do anything and everything. And that scares the knickers off me. Completely and utterly gone, disintegrated, okay? Because there are, anything goes there. Now, another that I found kind of shocking. As soon as I read it, what Titchett posted and everything, I went onto the web, okay, to see if I could find out more. And for the first hour that I searched, I couldn't find anything about it. The first report that I found about it was from the Soweto newspaper, okay? That's the first report I found about it. And I thought, oh, what is happening? Why isn't the international press, which is supposed to be there, okay, why aren't they making a big hoo-ha about it? Are we now going to pretend everything's all right so that they can come and do their thing in Zimbabwe, or what? But this thing where she has been attacked like that, that scares me. I'm finished. It really does, because I really did not ever think that they would do something like that. Not this regime, okay? Because they are so intent on getting accepted by the West. I mean, they'll dance through barbed wire with a fire and bombs and everything. And for them to do this, oh, hey, no, This is not good, and so blatantly. I mean, it wasn't in a rural area. It wasn't in a home, okay, where people. It was where there were people around. And thank God for the protection that she has, okay? I mean, those guys were fearless. And thank God for them. But this really has really knocked me sideways. It has.
It has. Okay, sorry. Thank you so much for that. You think it's not a good thing happening there. Tete Rosie, what did you hear, and what do you think? Did you think this happened?
Yeah, well, someone definitely got beat up because I saw pictures of blood, someone's bloody head on social media. So something happened. Do I think Lacoste is responsible? No, I don't actually think so.
Yeah.
You know, just based on my personal experience in Zimbabwe. You know, Mnangagwa did a lot of his own staging when Mugabe was in power, of people being abducted and things just happening. It could be that the tables have turned. They're trying to also show that he is just as violent. It could be his enemies. I honestly don't know. But what I do know now about Zimbabwe is, I know that Sally was saying, why isn't it being reported? The Zimbabwe Human Rights Forum used to report these political violence acts every month.
Yeah.
And then it stopped.
That.
It stopped because I used to take those reports every month and report them to all the agencies. I had it set up in my email. And for the last 3 months, ever since the new dispensation has come in, there's no political violence reports that are generated at all. I actually emailed the Human Rights Forum. I haven't gotten a response yet. Asking them why,
as well.
Yeah, why we're not seeing these reports anymore, because you hear Anamnangagwa, they do their stuff in the dead of night. That's why they don't do it openly. They're very still about their behavior. So it's very strange that they would do something so open, you know, like this, to someone who would get so much attention like Mujuru. You know, I would think that they would not attack her directly. Maybe they would attack some of her, you know, her supporters or her comrades in the dead of night. You know, so those they can deny. So my thought on it, to be honestly truthful with you, just based on what my experience from 2016 to 17 in Zimbabwe, when I discovered that a lot of stuff was being staged. And I'm not saying they staged. I'm just saying there's a possibility that there's another hand at play that's just trying to make sure it looks like it's ED who's doing it. Not that ED is not doing his stuff. He's doing his in the dead of night. I just don't think he'll do it openly. And you said, I know you're going to come back to Jonathan Moyo. You mentioned Jonathan Moyo said something. I had said Kuti Itai Dzamara was not abducted. Jonathan Moyo first said that in 2015. He was not abducted. In 2016, he corrected himself and he said he actually discovered, while he was still in government.
Right.
He had a report in Daily News that he said he actually realized now that Itai Dzamara was abducted. This was before he even left government, way before he left government. Right. He actually corrected the record.
Okay, we will come to what Jonathan Moyo said in a little while. I just wanted to ask Timbo exhauster. I understand what you're saying about Amai Mujuru.
No, I just wanted to clear that up.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not a supporter of Jonathan Moyo by any means.
All right.
You know, I'm not. But I don't know. I'm not, to be honest with you, I don't know much about Amai Mujuru's attack. I just find the whole thing just very odd. Because people think violence is happening in Zimbabwe. I tell you, it's happening because you hear it from reporters. You know, this is happening, but we're not allowed to report on it. Another topic that we probably want to discuss in the near future is the fact that Zimbabwe is slowly losing independent media. Very soon there will be no independent media in Zimbabwe.
And journalists that are creditworthy.
Envelopes. And it's funny because, you know, you say that today the EU actually had a meeting, you had a thing, I don't know what they were doing with where they had a media something, and they actually talked about that, and they said envelopes are being exchanged. Zimbabwe media ukataritsa vanhu vakaita sana Trevor Nyube vari kutonyadzisa. They're not even credible people. But I know that Trevor Nyube was in Lacoste in South Africa doing some stuff way before all of this happened. So this is why you're not going to get a lot of the reports of things that are actually happening on political violence. Because it's happening in the dead of night.
But Rosie, even before, I'd say 2-3 years before this all happened, the standard of reporting that was coming out of Zimbabwe was disgusting.
Yes, it is. It's really, I mean, the media.
I mean, the journalists were doing nothing. They were just copy and pasting.
It's so compromised. It's very sad.
It's disgusting. Anyway, sorry.
Okay. Right. Okay. Thank you so much. Jono Moyo.
Yes, hello.
Yes. Tete, mainzwawo here nyaya yaMai Mujuru that what's going on? Where is the noise coming from? Right. Mainzwawo here nyaya yaMai Mujuru that she has been attacked there in Glenora, where she was addressing a rally there, and we saw pictures coming through. One of the guys that was looking after her there bashed in the head. And we had information as well from Komatich sending us, I think it's a receipt from the doctor saying that she suffered some jaw problem there, mandible or something like that. And she has had several injections there. And her face has been put on with her looking very sad. If it did happen, what does this mean? Ndukunzwa Tete Rosapo, she's saying that it couldn't have been Mnangagwa, because Mnangagwa wants to be a very good boy, to the West. He doesn't want to be seen as, as encouraging violence there. Saying maybe this is a third party who has sent a group of young people there to go and do this, so that it seems as if it's from Mnangagwa, but it's not. What's your take on that?
Well, I saw this on social media. I saw a man who was injured on the head, and three things came into my mind, just like Rosie and Sally. You know, I kind of said, no, it cannot be Mnangagwa at the moment. You know, but I think and I suspect that it could be that there is now a division within ZANU. And then one of Mnangagwa and then one of Chiwenga. I think suspect there is a tribal division or a military and a political division. And this was already seen immediately after the coup. Kuti Chiwenga is now very ambitious. He doesn't like this Mnangagwa, weak Mnangagwa, who ran away to South Africa and he did the dirty job alone and remains the second person to Mnangagwa. But then it had to be like that, because if Chiwenga took over as a military man, it was going to confirm Kuti it's a coup, Now he had to take in Mnangagwa as president, So coming to this incident here, I've got this feeling that Chiwenga is desperate. There is some infighting that we don't know. I've got this feeling that Chiwenga is now desperate just to smear Mnangagwa, Whereas Mnangagwa is looking outside, Chiwenga is looking inside, And I've got this feeling between those two camps, there is infighting that will manifest itself as we go towards the election. This is my simple analysis.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Sekuru. Muriko eroko Sekuru.
Wangu mzukuru wangu.
mainzwawo here nyaya yamai mujuru kunzi wabvumburudzwa.
Ndangunawo pobuda mahunga kuti munhu vanhu varova amai mujuru. Ndikatoti zvinogofamba sei. But makuhwa kuZimbabwe haanyanyi kurive nemabhi because pane mipicha yemumwe munhu anga atotekeshwa musoro achibudiro. Saka to me something happened. But who did it then becomes the big problem now, the identity of the person who did it.
Yeah.
Because if you remember when we welcomed Amai Mujuru to opposition politics, we reminded that there is only one Tsvangirai who knows what opposition politics is all about. It's about being bludgeoned and being told not to do this, not to do that. It's about being savaged and about nothing of these things happened to Amai Mujuru until now. And you begin to wonder what is going on. Could it be Lacoste doing these things? If it is Lacoste doing these things, why didn't they do it when Amai Mujuru left and they formed a party? Is Amai Mujuru more threatening now at this stage than she was, say, 2 years ago? And then you look at it and you say, there's something wrong there, something does not add up. And then you hear mwana wacho achiti amai vedu varohwa, and you then say, but these are the same people vaimboti Tsvangirai gada anodashurwa. Why are they complaining now? Is it a stage managed attack, or is it a real attack, or is it an internal fighting? Because if you look at NPP, mukati mayo mune discord yamo yemukati me-NPP. We know the Secretary General and the former spokesman Jelas Mawarire vakamborovana in a pub.
Yes,
so
yes, we saw that, yeah.
These are divisions within NPP, and you don't know how deep-rooted they are or how superficial they are. But to measure the extent of the deep-rootedness, Jelas Mawarire had to quit in half to avoid further, probably, punishment from these people.
Yeah,
so in my view...
Yeah, okay, pen session.
In my view, this is something that I would like to carefully monitor and see exactly what is going to come out of it. I don't just want to jump to the conclusion that it is either Lacoste or any other party, and exclude the possibility that it could be an internal NPP fight.
That's another dimension yamaya na esekuru. Thank you so much. Dosaka muripo. Rekaendende pana Mkoma Wilbert hapo. Mkoma Wilbert, welcome to the show. It's good to have you here.
Thank you. Hello, good evening everybody.
Maneru.
Yeah, I think the possibility that it was a ZANU-PF orchestrated thing, we cannot rule it out because we have seen violence. ZANU-PF, whenever it feels that somebody is threatening its power, they've used violence in the past. And the people who have orchestrated it are the ones who are in government now. Amai Mujuru, I, for one, said it even when she was kicked out in 2014, that she did not know anything about the vote rigging and the violence because she wasn't involved. The big brains behind the violence and the vote rigging has always been Mugabe, Jonathan Moyo, and Mnangagwa. assisted by the guys in the security sector. That's in the police, army, and CIO. And those are the people who are in government now. And to say they couldn't have been involved in this violence, I think it's not being realistic. Mnangagwa wants to project a picture that he wants free, fair, and credible elections. If he was genuine, why did he appoint people like retired General Engelbert Rugenje, who has been already in Mashingo telling people the violence in Makaona in 2008 and 2013 is coming back? He is now the political commissar of ZANU-PF, the guy responsible for mobilizing the party supporters and the people to vote for ZANU in the coming elections. And he is the man he appoints if he didn't want violence. I think we've got to be real, deal with the real Zimbabwe. It is not. We don't know for certain because we haven't got the facts yet. But I won't put it beyond ZANU-PF to be behind the violence. And as for the violence itself, I think we need to remind our opposition people that until we implement the democratic reforms that will enable the police to walk in there and arrest with confidence the person responsible for the violence, without having to wait to find out what happened and so forth. Right now, we know in Zimbabwe, the police will hesitate. Because if it is ZANU-PF orchestrated violence, in the past, the police have been told outright to let the person go free. You know, this is politically motivated, leave him. And they've left out the people who committed the offense. And in some cases, people who have been beaten, and I think our friends in MDC will confirm it, they will go to the police, and sometimes they are the ones who end up being detained. That is the reality of the culture of political violence that we have in Zimbabwe. And I think the opposition needs to look back and say, is that what we want this year again, 38 years after independence? And I think that is, I find it infuriating that the opposition pretend it is not happening when it's happening. And in this particular case, when maybe some of the leaders themselves are being threatened, maybe that is going to be the wake-up call. Because we cannot accept a situation where this time in day and age, somebody gets beaten. You could see somebody bleeding on some of the media and photographs and videos. That is totally unacceptable. Surely we know how to run free, fair, incredible elections. SADC has already said you should not participate in these elections until you implement the democratic reforms that enables you to say with confidence, the police, if there was any incident of violence, the police will step in. If there is anything that is vote rigging, ZEC will step in and say, no, this is not right. At the present moment, we don't have that confidence. And I think this is a wake-up call to all the opposition to seriously think about this problem.
Ndine message dzandiri kutumirwa kuno ku WhatsApp, but I want to hear kubva kuna.
Having been on the, in the trenches myself, I see a lot of political fingers in the incident. And those fingers, to me, point to the direction of ZANU-PF.
Okay.
Let me also say, Kuti, I know with Sekuru that we cannot rule out my internal squabbles within the NPP. And I think he is right. But then, let us remind ourselves, Kuti, when we talk of NPP, we are also talking of ZANU, isn't it? Because if you look at the NPP, its constituency is ZANU constituency. And at the moment, it's trying to take also the G40, who are in hiding. So in character and in behavior, the support base here, NPP, is also ZANU. But let me not say that, that is maybe a speculation. It's not given that it is an internal squabble. But I can assure you that I cannot rule out either this coming from the ZANU PF as led by the Junta and Mnangagwa. Let me tell you, normally what they do is, there is nowhere ZANU would attack you without authority from the top. It would have been sanctioned right from the top, especially now with technology, with communications. And this it doesn't augur well as we prepare for the elections, especially after Mnangagwa said that the elections are going to be free and fair, free from violence, and that is going to invite the international community. But one other strategy that they may do is to use violence earlier before the international community comes to Zimbabwe. Because the international community normally comes about at most 6 weeks before for the long-term observers and 2 weeks before for the short-term observers. So violence may be instituted in between, well before, so that by the time that the international community comes into Zimbabwe, things have normalized. And you find that this is, for you, I mean, we are talking about the ZANU-PF system. Nothing has changed as far as the institutions of violence is concerned on the ground, the ZANU-PF. They may use the different tactics because now it is aicharanwa nemacivilian yakuranwa nearmy. If you look at it, most of the strategic positions within the government are kuranwa military. So the approach, we can see that the approach would totally be a bit different. It will be the same violence in a different form. Either in terms of the civilian Yangari frontal attack, we can see guerrilla attack, where they can disown their own people, but very evil set up. So I see that coming up, and I'm not surprised, having been on the ground myself and having been a victim and having seen victims. Now I know kuti this could have been avoided near electoral reform. Let me quickly and hasten to say, we must be very clear to distinguish between the rule of law and the electoral reforms. If there is no rule of law, whether you have the best constitution, right? It doesn't work. All what it means is that these people in power are ignoring their own constitution. And the electoral reforms does not come here in terms of the police. It has nothing to do with that. Those are the laws of the land. And the government of the day may, like what Mugabe was doing, may ignore or may actually instigate violence, the president himself, against his own people, against the constitution. And nobody would arrest the president. So what we want is, yes, we want the complete implementation of the constitution. But even the complete implementation of the constitution does not eliminate electoral violence. We've seen, I think we need to remind ourselves, Zimbabwe, we are not unique. We have seen violence in other countries as well. In Kenya, for example, we have seen that. In Mozambique, in Zambia, and even in our neighboring country, South Africa. That, what you are saying is, for what we need is institutions that is impartial. So we await to see how the police are going to investigate, especially this case. If the current administration, Mnangagwa's administration, is sincere about making sure that it is free of violence, the preparation to elections and also the elections. We want to see what they are going to do. If they pursue those perpetrators, arrest them, investigate, and let it be in the public domain, who are those people? Who sent them? And what was the motive? Then that actually can assure us that we sort of now have got a different approach to elections in Zimbabwe.
DJ Sodza, can I just say something quickly? Just very, very quickly.
Yes.
In the first reports that came out, okay, the cops apparently had arrested people, and 2 of them were army officials. Okay, so that's just another little tidbit.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm concerned about the tweet that someone did tweet earlier on, saying that Zimbabweans, that Amai Mujuru said Zimbabweans must thank Grace Mugabe for fast tracking her husband's fall. This is what Amai Mujuru said. Could it be linked with this beating, Sally?
No. Look, you see why I keep on saying Mnangagwa does things in the shadows, okay? If he wanted Amai Mujuru gone, okay, after she got kicked out of the government and ZANU-PF and everything, he could have done it very easily. Okay? That's why I'm saying that what has happened today, okay, is from Chiwenga's side. Chiwenga is politically illiterate. Chiwenga is operating on brute force because that's how he's always operated. I mean, I watched him there in Parliament, okay, supposedly performing, all right? I mean, you can see that the guy really has very little knowledge of the political side of things and how you do these things in the shadows and underground and all this kind of business, okay? That's why I'm saying this thing's connected to Chiwenga. And Chiwenga, Amai Mujuru to him is a huge, huge threat. A huge threat. Because she comes from within ZANU, and within ZANU, deep within ZANU. I mean, she's not a yesterday, fly-by-night, dropped in the ocean type of ex-ZANU-PF. That's her base, okay? So, knowledge that she has to Chiwenga must be really, really threatening for him. I mean, listen, this man tried to commit suicide once. This man is not a mentally healthy man. He's kind of mentally challenged. Okay? And he operates from this a place of you give orders and people will double themselves over to carry those orders out. And that is what he is used to. That's his profession. Okay? I mean, who had really heard of Chiwenga on the political scene until this coup? Well, his coup was only for him. I mean, it wasn't for anybody else. It was just for him. Because of his life, if Mugabe hadn't said he's going to arrest him and have him up for treason as soon as he gets back, this would have happened. We would still be sitting with Mugabe.
All right.
Okay? So, I mean, this to me is, I don't see it as infighting because I don't think the people would be that violent towards it. Okay? This to me is pure ZANU. Nothing else.
All right.
I'm most probably wrong, but anyway.
Yes. Someone doesn't agree with you there. They're saying you're probably wrong. They're saying that does Sally's response imply that such a statement is negligible in this climate of disapproval of Mugabe family? Please be real, folks.
No, but what is wrong with what she said? If it wasn't for Grace acting like a
petulant child.
Yeah, a mental case. But you see, look at Grace's history. We forget. We just see Grace there, the first lady, okay? We forget about her history. That thing, excuse me, was a whore on wheels, okay? How Mugabe put up with what she did, okay, I will never know, all right? I really don't. It's... So, if it wasn't for Grace acting like she did, if it wasn't for Mugabe threatening Chiwenga's livelihood, we would still be sitting with Mugabe. There we are. What are you going to do about it? It's the truth.
All right, Sally, I have to move on, guys, from that. But, back after 1 minute.
Make the whole world know about your business. Advertise with Zimnet Radio. Email marketing@zimnetradio.com.
This is a disclaimer. The opinions expressed by contributors during radio call-in shows are solely those of the individual callers and do not reflect the opinions of Zimnet Radio, DJs, presenters, managers or administration. Listeners are encouraged and advised to seek the services of qualified professionals for their personal problems.
In touch with the best online station, Zimnet Radio.
Right, today. So thank you so much for listening there. It's exactly 2 minutes before 11. Kuno ku United Kingdom. Tinokuchingamidza yavachangu tubata. For those that are just joining us, thank you so much. If you want to get in touch with us, you may as well send us a message through our WhatsApp platform 0798 4455 349 0798 4455 349. Get in touch, tell us what you want us to talk about, or you want to dispute what the panel are saying. Please do get in touch with me. I can share whatever you want here. This one is saying, hello DJ, hope masquera zvakanaka. Please, may you ask the panel, Kuti, why is there so much fighting at the Harare East constituency? Obed Gutu and Tendai Iti are going to fight for this. Are they not meant to be in an alliance, these people? That's for you, Apepe.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, we are into an alliance, so it's an MDC alliance. But that doesn't mean there won't be other people at this stage, because the selection process have not been convened, and to such a way which parted kwama allocations in terms of the candidates. So you find there will be a lot of people putting. I'm against the situation where people would go ahead and announce my constituency how pass it by to a final decision, which is unfortunate. I think it's unnecessary. It only gives an
impression that there's confusion.
There's a confusion. So to me, it's a storm in a teacup. It's only people need to be leadership enough to tour the line, and the final decision will be announced. The list of the candidates in every of the 210 constituencies will be announced, and then I don't expect any confusion after that.
All right.
Although democratically, if somebody decides to run as an independent, there's not much you can do. It is a democratic space, but we don't expect that to happen.
So I've got a couple of questions there. So when do we expect the final decisions on who is running for which constituency? Because I mean the elections are around the corner, aren't they?
Yeah, the elections are around the corner. In terms of candidate selection, it's not too late anyway. But although it's good that people know their constituencies, their candidates in time, so they can start hitting the road. Normally, you find the names of the candidates are announced at the same time the date of the election is announced.
However, so this is what is going to happen, is it?
No. We are trying to avoid that. We are trying to sort out that early. There is a consultative meeting for this weekend. I'm just preempting, but I'm not going to tell you much about the details.
Okay.
But the process has already started. So the whole country is converging for consultative process in terms of all the 210 districts. So we hope that after that, then announcements will start taking place.
So are you telling me here that because Tendai Iti and Obed Gutu will be going in as an alliance, so only one candidate is going to stand there, for MDC alliance? They cannot stand both of them with the ticket of the MDC alliance unless one of them decided to go it as an independent.
Correct.
All right. Okay, that's clear. Right. Okay. Thank you so much. Regarding Mandatange Pamuri Papo, you saw what Jonathan Moyo said to SABC yesterday, and one thing which came to note was the Itai Dzamara, situation where he is now telling us, he said he was in government, that he was indeed abducted, but earlier on akangamboti he didn't. But I mean, is this kicks of a dying horse here?
I'm surprised that Zimbabweans, they follow his line of logic now that he is out of power. But this is the same person who actually dismissed Itai Dzamara. By the way, we've got porous borders. This is the guy who said we've got porous borders. So this guy, Itai Dzamara, could have gone to the neighboring countries to look for greener pastures. Right? That was Jonathan Moyo, by his own admittance. And this is the person that we are now trying to take on face value, that is now trying to talk sense. This, to me, it must be dismissed with the uttermost contempt it deserves.
So are you telling... Yes, so are you telling me to all what he was chatting there, I'm sorry, it's utter nonsense here?
Look, there may be some traces of some truth, but nothing to write home about.
Okay.
I personally think that Jonathan Moyo himself knows very well who abducted Itai Dzamara, how he was abducted, because he was the same person who defended. You don't defend what you don't know. This is the guy when he's trying to divert attention so that we see him as being a victim. Since when Jonathan Moyo became a victim of his own creation?
Right.
I don't buy into it.
You don't buy into it at all. Okay, thank you so much. Mkoma Wilbete, all nonsense, isn't it, this?
Now, I think we'll be making a big mistake. Like I said in my earlier contribution, people who know and they've got information, those are the real powerful people. When it comes to vote rigging, I did say that the people who knew were Jonathan Moyo, Robert Mugabe, and Emerson Mnangagwa. Jonathan Moyo may be out of the game, but as long as he holds so much information about the cabal that is in power today, they have got everything to fear from him. And we are going to get a lot of information from Jonathan Moyo that will damage this regime, expose them for what it is. And I think if we ignore it, we're making a mistake. The one thing that I actually picked up on that interview was when Jonathan Moyo was asked, was ZANU-PF rigging the elections? And he turned around the question, instead of giving a direct answer, he turned it around and said, did that justify the coup? The interesting thing about it is, in fact, if you go back to 2008, ZANU-PF also staged another coup. This time, yes, it wasn't so pronounced because Tsvangirai and his friends had not got into power. They only staged a coup to stop them to getting into power. But it was, strictly speaking, a coup because they are defeating a democratic process. And the truth of the matter is, Mugabe, by rigging elections and staging all these coups, he actually set himself up for a coup. Because how else are you going to remove a government if you can't remove it in a peaceful democratic process? So this is exactly what happened. And we are looking at a situation here where Mnangagwa is doing the same thing again. If he is going to rig these coming elections, and I think the ground is set already, he's going to rig them. He is also setting himself up. The only way we're going to get him out and his friends, they've all lined up now. They've, from what some media have said, they've all agreed that Mnangagwa will serve maybe for 5 terms or 10 terms, and then Chiwenga will come in and serve his 10 terms and so forth. And you and me and the ordinary Zimbabwean out there have got nothing to say in that process. The elections will be rigged in such a way that that is the system that is going to happen. ZANU-PF yotonga, igotonga.
After all, they've got the gun, haven't they?
Exactly. They've got the gun, they've got the mechanism to be able to rig the elections. And I think what we need to be able to respond to is how are we going to respond to that? And the solution is there. Do not participate in a process that you know is rigged. You do not take part in a race that you don't know the starting line, you don't know the finishing line, you don't know what distance you are running, and ZANU-PF will come in and say, oh, so-and-so has won it. What? I thought we were running 500 meters. Why is it has been reduced now to 200 meters? Right. That is what we're looking at here. And I think Jono Moyo is one of those people who is going to cause havoc to the Mnangagwa administration. Mark my...
Yeah, Mukoma Wilbert. Let me take you ndimi mapinda panzvimbo yatsvangirai, for example. Now, would you embrace Jonathan Moyo to help you get into power and expose Mnangagwa? Would you?
Jonathan Moyo is one of those people whom you cannot trust. He can be helpful 1 minute and damaging the next. I personally can never work with somebody like Jonathan Moyo because I can't trust him, because he's dishonest, because he will do something that is dishonest, that is dishonorable. But nonetheless, when it comes to information, in this particular case, I don't think Jonathan Moyo, although in that interview he sounded like he still expects G40 to someday come back and even get back into power. I don't think G40 will ever come back, because the people of Zimbabwe, they may have disapproved of the coup, but they hated Mugabe even more. And that is why they joined on the 18th of November to celebrate the coup, because they hated Mugabe even more. But that doesn't mean, Kuti, even if now we are now to try to get rid of the Lacoste, it doesn't mean we are welcoming G40. G40 is finished, and G40 people don't want it. And I think MDC would be making a big mistake if they start entertaining G40 people in their political discourse.
Okay, thank you so much. Sekuru, may I come to you there? Yes, ya Moyo. This is the last kick of a dying horse, isn't it? And he's talking nonsense in your books.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm not interested in Jonathan Moyo. Jonathan Moyo as a politician who didn't get it.
Yes.
I've always said Jonathan Moyo, vanhu vanompa credit imwe yandoshaya kuti uneiwanepi, because in as far as I'm concerned, he's a politician without political principles. One day he's saying this, the other day he's saying that, the next day he's saying this, the next day he's saying that, next day is back to what you were saying the day before. You can never determine what exactly he stands for. So to me, I want him to continue with this confusion, and the confusion actually irambe iri mu ZANU circles. But I don't want him anywhere near MDC.
Even what he's saying, you don't take anything what he's saying, even if he try to tell you that the elections are rigged in such this way, you do not listen to that.
I don't listen to anything that he says. If I know one of my party leaders who listens to Jonathan Moyo and believes in what he says, I'll tell him to get out of our structures.
Sekuru, you don't mince your words there, I can see. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes. Tetelo Mazulu.
Hello, dear.
Yes, you heard what Jonathan Moyo had to say, from Zamara, from, that this government is illegitimate, and that Mnangagwa is the richest man in Zimbabwe, and all these kind of things. Any truth in it? Or this is just a bitter man who should just shut up and put his tail between his legs and rot in South Africa?
Well, what he may have said, it could be true, but then the thing is, Jonathan is a chameleon. Jonathan is somebody who should never be trusted by any political party. Or he should never be trusted even with Cholochonos. And I wonder how he is coming to terms with his family. Having abandoned his family and he absconds, you start to wonder with what type of a father, if he knew what because this coup was smelling the past 5 months until it happened in November, a good father would have made all contingency.
Yes, contingency plans, yes.
Yeah, to secure his family. And then he does his dirty work. Family first. Not to go and dump family there. What if they revenged on the family? He is an intelligent man, but I wonder his wisdom. He left it somewhere else, or he has never had it. When he tells us about Tamara, but he says Tamara was abducted. Why is he talking about it now? There was time enough to say it. If ever he said it after his daughter had died, And we continue to say, now look, what if we turned around and said something about your dead daughter? Would you be happy with it? That's when Jonathan said, yeah. Then he said, yes, he regrets. I remember that very well, that he regretted. Now coming to this aspect of illegitimacy and the constitutionality, But Jonathan is a beneficiary of 2008 election, and he benefited in 2013 election. Why didn't he talk about the legitimacy and the constitutionality of the regime? They should have told us long back, but no, this regime is illegitimate. Tsvangirai won the elections 2008. If he was wise, or if he was so good as he appears to tell us now, while he is in exile, he should have said so long back. He should have quit then. ZANU-PF and say, I can't stand this. But because he benefited, now he goes thousands of miles away and then he starts talking, shouting ground. But he forgets that ground he is talking about. The key master of that ground is Mugabe, And Mugabe, as they say it in the papers, Mugabe is the ground is the babe of Mugabe, So how do you demarcate ground atrocities from Mugabe and Mnangagwa, and the same Mnangagwa is, and the Chiwenga is, exonerating Mugabe? It just doesn't work out. By no means, So he's playing double standards, and somehow he thinks we are so stupid or gullible or whatever, to follow him what he said. Me, I didn't take anything that he said in South African television interview. I didn't take anything. I didn't buy anything from that, because everything is just, he has to say something because he's in exile now. But it doesn't help anybody. Nor does it help Cholo. It just confuses everything. I remember writing an article about it. GTA, you people from Atebeleni, be careful. We shall be told this ground is that by people who are benefiting from the very people we are saying they are the architects of ground. Since 2000, Jonathan was in ZANU. Why didn't he pick up this? More so that Jonathan directly, his father was killed by the 5th Brigade. You know, you can't talk two sides. You know, you can't be a chameleon all the time. It's not possible.
Right, okay. Thank you so much, Jono Moyo, for that. You are not a big fan of Jonathan Moyo, and really you don't want to listen to what he's got to say. Because you can't differentiate whether he's telling the truth or not, because he might tell you today that he's got 4 children, then tomorrow you say he's got 2 children, and 10 days down the line he'll say he's got 6 children. So really you just don't know where this man stands. Tete Rosie.
Hello?
Yes, Tete Rosie, what did you make of this interview? I know you spoke a little bit about it earlier.
I think I'm the only one who actually is happy that he's going around talking.
Right.
I wish more people would talk. I wish more people would talk about the government being illegitimate. I wish more people would talk about the elections not being free and fair under this government. You know, because I don't like Jonathan Moyo. But I actually went back after all of this happened, and I watched that Blue Ridge. I actually had never watched it. I watched it after the fact. And as I was watching that Blue Ridge Ocean, there was a Chinuchedu gang. And then I remember those words being said by Chinamasa, and then by some ZANU-PF ministers. And then when you look back at a lot of things, there's a lot of things that he said that actually happened. I don't say that opposition should listen to him, but I think you should pay attention. Anything that's said, you should at least pay attention and do some research. No matter who the audience is, let's check the facts to see how those, not Kutan to take G40 on into your party, no. But the idea of ignoring everything, I just don't find that useful. I think sometimes you need to no, can I finish what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because this is my opinion. You know, I personally think let him talk as much as he needs to. Let him go around saying it's an illegitimate government, because it is an illegitimate government. SADC should make sure elections in Zimbabwe are free and fair, and you should make sure elections in Zimbabwe are free and fair. All these Western countries, I can understand the British people who are trying to engage Zimbabwe and say it's really right. It's not well. There's nothing well in Zimbabwe. There should be no acceptance of this regime. In fact, ZANU-PF has been illegitimate since I don't remember when, since Mugabe times. So nobody should be accepting this. So I personally think the more people who talk about the illegitimacy, I mean, the better for everyone. Do I think I could wake up tomorrow next week and hear ZANU-PF has rigged the election and won, and Jonathan Moyo is back as a minister? It's possible. Anything is possible in ZANU-PF. I don't believe that's an impossibility. And this is some other game that ZANU-PF is playing. But what I don't like is ignoring everything and just saying let's just not listen. Let's not. I personally like to find out is Emerson Mnangagwa the richest man in Zimbabwe? I don't know, but I know he's one of the richest. That's not a lie. That's true. Because he's also connected to the company that's doing elections. He's connected to so many companies. Saka, is that a lie? No, it's not. There's some truth to that. And, is this a new dispensation? I haven't seen a new dispensation yet. I've heard, like you said, anecdotes and slogans, but I haven't seen any changes in the law or anything that actually says there is some permanent policy that's happening. So all those things are true. Was ZANU-PF supposed to march into the city a political? If you lost a battle that you were arguing, were you supposed to march tanks into the city of Harare and take over Zimbabwe? No, that shouldn't have happened. But it did, and we accepted it because we don't like Mugabe. But does that make this government legitimate? No, the government is still not legitimate. So there's so many. Yes, we might not like who he is, but there's truth to what he's saying. There's some facts there.
And I think people should need to be really echoing the fact that this government that's there should not even be running an election in Zimbabwe.
What I wanted to say, Rose, sorry, Mkoma Sodza.
Oh, okay.
What I wanted to say, Rose, is that so far what Jonathan has said is knowledge that we already know. You know, if he says it's illegitimate, we know that. You know, if he whatever he said to South African television, you know, we know it already. So there is nothing.
No, there is something to saying it to the world. There's something the world stops to, so that people listen. Because this idea of accepting something that is unacceptable is what's happening. People need to say it. Opposition needs to be saying it every day. We need to be saying it. Somebody needs to say it. Is this government legitimate? Let him talk. He's a Zimbabwean. What's stopping him from exercising his democratic rights? Let him exercise his democratic rights. If you don't want to listen, you change your channel. But let him talk.
The thing is, the international community will not listen to Jonathan.
How do you know? How do you know? You don't. Nobody knows that. You're concluding that. I want to hear. Just because you don't doesn't mean I don't. I think people should be talking. More people should be talking. Let the men talk. Everybody should be talking about these elections coming up and how illegitimate they are. I don't trust that this government should even be running an election. So anyone who can talk to talk. Do I think Jonathan Moyo left ZANU-PF? It could be another game. I don't know. I wouldn't advise opposition to take him on, but I wouldn't say ignore everything or don't research. Or shut him up. No, I wouldn't say that.
Right, okay. Thank you so much. Sally, I want to come to you. Sally, are you still there?
I was very happy. Yeah, I'm here. I was very happy when the man was supposed to be dead.
Right.
I can't stand the fact that people are giving this man legitimacy. I can't stand the fact that they are wasting time listening to his rubbish. This man is part of that regime that he's performing about. What is so difficult about understanding that? He says, we must think about the people. Was he thinking about the people when he created that media business that he created? Okay, and blacked out everything and blew up people and journalists disappeared and everything? Was he thinking about the people? No, he wasn't. Jonathan Moyo is, you know that saying that the American Indians had? White man speak with forked tongue. This guy, forked tongue. This guy has got a cat with nine tails for a tongue. I can't bear to listen to him. For starters, everything that I heard him say, I already know. Everybody knows it. The government's not legitimate. So his government wasn't legitimate either. But because what? Because poor little Jono has had to go into exile in South Africa, okay, and put up with the South Africans. Now little Jono is going to cry. And he's going to sing about Mnangagwa. But he was Mnangagwa's big buddy.
Absolutely.
Now I must waste my time listening to him. Do you know, I feel insulted.
But you don't have to listen to him. That's the thing.
I don't listen to him, and I didn't listen to him, and I feel insulted that Zimbabweans that are intelligent take time to listen to the garbage that this snake is vomiting out on people. I can't stand it.
I'm not even embarrassed to say I listen to everything. I listen to everything, to everyone, because I want to know what you're saying. And
yes, so
myself.
do I, Rosie. But I do not defend him in any circumstance. He is trash. He has got nothing to say.
But I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying he's not trash. But that's for there is a reason why the world stops when he talks. Some people want to hear.
The world stops when he talks.
Yes. Have you been online and see how much shares this thing gets?
And I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted. The same people that were pointing a finger at Jonathan Moyo, okay, and say, yeah, Mugabe's going to arrest him, he deserves it, all this kind of business, are now the people that are kissing his butt.
But they're not kissing him. They're not kissing his butt. You're making this assumption that because we want to hear what he has to say, we're kissing his butt. Some of us like to just know. Some of us want to know what's going on.
Rosie, can I speak, please? The minute you listen to that man, you are giving him credibility, and that's exactly what he wants. That's exactly.
I listen to Donald Trump's State of the Nation speech. I don't like the guy, but I listen because I want to know what he has to say. You just don't listen to people you agree with. Life doesn't work like that. Sometimes you listen to people you don't like because you just need to know what they have to say.
Rosie, I didn't interrupt you. Please. Okay? I will, the minute you listen to that man, you give him credibility, which is what he wants. That's exactly what he wants. Playing straight into Jonathan Moyo's hands.
All right. Okay. Sally, can I chip in there? Sekuru.
Yebo.
Yes, Sekuru semunu mukuru kudai. Would you blame people who want to listen to Moyo, or would you blame those who are saying that there is nothing to listen to when Jonathan Moyo is saying? Semunu Mukuru, can you clarify here? Which side are you on here?
No. The wisdom of the elderly is that you listen to everything.
Right.
When you listen to everything, you sift and select, throw away the chaff and retain the good for your own good usage. So it's like saying I can't read the Herald because it is good propaganda. You read the Herald, you read all the propaganda, and then you decide which is propaganda and which is not. As far as I'm concerned, I don't listen to Jonathan Moyo. If he says something that is in line with what I think is closer to the truth, I'll then measure that against the truth. It doesn't mean that I don't read what Moyo, or I don't listen to his interviews. I do, but only for the purposes of picking and sifting and selecting and then moving forward. And then to ensure that he never gets near my party again.
Thank you. That's what I was saying. Thank you. That's all I'm saying. You just because you don't like someone.
That's what I was saying, Rosie.
No, but you're saying I wouldn't listen to him. Why?
Rosie,
I'm listening.
Can I say something?
I want to know. I want to know.
All right.
Rosie, calm down.
Okay.
Just calm down. Look, I don't listen to Jonathan Moyo. I read, okay? Because I can't listen to the man. I want to punch his lights out. I read what he has to say, okay? I don't ignore it for the simple fact that I have to know what he is saying. But to give him credibility, never.
Giving him credibility.
Pardon?
Who's giving him credibility? I'm not.
Of course you are.
All right. I'm sorry.
How am I giving him credibility? Because I said I listened to him.
By shouting and screaming at me.
Okay. All right.
Defending him.
All right. I'm sorry. Mukoma Wilbert.
Yes, I wanted to say that what we have got to remember here is that Jonathan Moyo was in the G40 faction, and Mnangagwa was in the low-cost faction. And those factions had got to the point where they could not stand each other.
G40 and low-cost were not around all the time.
Well, ladies, please. I mean, we have got to have a dialogue here. The point here is that now that Jonathan Moyo is out, he is still determined to destroy Lacoste. And in this particular case, we want a democratic Zimbabwe. And as long as Mnangagwa is in power with his cabal, that is not going to happen. So if Jonathan Moyo is going to tell us something that may be relevant for us to expose that this is a regime that is not going to hold free and fair elections, and I think Jonathan Moyo knows a lot more than some of us do, because he was part of the system. And therefore then, what he's going to say, what he has to say, whether we like it or not, he has got a bigger platform than a lot of us have. And therefore then, if he can say it on those platforms and expose that this regime is illegitimate and hammer it in again and again and again, that is to the advantage of not just the people on this program, but for the good of Zimbabwe. Because we want a democratic Zimbabwe, and getting a democratic Zimbabwe will mean that we have got to have all the information we have to show that this is what we have got now is a fiction. This new dispensation is a wolf in a sheep disguise. That is what we want, and I think in this particular case, focusing on that is important. That is more important than everything else.
What on earth? Jonathan Moyo is saying it's illegal regime. Okay? Now, what are you going to do with that? You're going to go to Mnangagwa and say you're an illegal regime. We know he's an illegal regime. The people that should be shouting the illegal regime are the opposition parties, not Jonathan Moyo.
Yes, but that is exactly what we are saying here. The opposition should be saying it. You and me should be saying it. And if Jonathan Moyo is saying it too, there is nothing wrong with that.
All right.
That's rubbing in the important point of this is a regime that is trying to.
It's making a joke. It's making a joke of it when Jonathan Moyo says it, because he's part of an illegal regime too.
Okay, right. Rekaini kubate ipapo. Ndinodzokera pana vapepe.
Yeah.
Vapepe, how is Baba Tsvangirai?
Yeah, he is still not feeling well. I understand. Well, he's stable and recovering, but again, he's still not feeling well. So wish him a fast recovery.
I don't know, but so for how long is the MDC going to wait for his recovery before they can tell the nation who is going to stand in 5 months' time?
Right. Let me be frank with you on that. Okay, the MDC is not waiting for Tsvangirai, right? Behind the scenes, there's quite a lot in terms of putting together a strategy for the elections, and there's a roadmap. The roadmap has to be in line with the constitution of MDC. If, for example, Tsvangirai is not well enough to run for the elections in the next couple of weeks.
Now, I think Pamakamuru Zimbabwe Mimi, we had Sekuru on this show, and he said the party is giving him 2 weeks to to get well, and in those 2 weeks, and this was like 4 weeks ago, he said in those 2 weeks, if he is not well enough, we have got contingency plans, because what I'm coming to is, for how long is MDC going to wait for his recovery before they give us a leader, they give people a leader to follow? Because the elections, I don't know, it's 4 months, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Can I just finish on that in terms of the leadership succession plan? If ever it's going to come, there's a process to be followed, and it's not by appointment, it is by an elective process. But what you are saying is that the MDC and the MDC Alliance will not lead the people of Zimbabwe. There will be, whichever way it comes, there will be a credible leader to lead the opposition to the 2018 elections.
Right. I've got lots of questions, but I need to move on and ask others as well there. I'm just wondering, I need facts here. If you are saying that you're going to follow the constitution of MDC, but I'm wondering here, how long does it take? If we were to start it today, the process of choosing a successor to Tsvangirai, how long would that process take? How long does that process take?
Yeah, in the event that, I'm not saying that Tsvangirai is being ruled out.
No, we are not saying that, no.
Yeah, we are mindful of the time in the event that Tsvangirai is not going to contest. Yes, your question is how long does it take? It doesn't take long. It's you're talking about a couple of days, a week, 2 weeks, right? Because what you need to do is, mind you, the MDC is the only opposition party with structures throughout the country, and the communication mechanism is already in place. So it's a matter of notifying the structures, those who are in the electoral college, to come for an elective process of a leader. And then people will then be able to throw their heads, those who want to be elected as the leader for the MDC, if that arises. So it's not something that takes weeks or months, no.
So today is the 1st of February, Vapeve. So are you telling me on the 15th of February we are going to have a definitive answer? Because I know there's a lot of your supporters listening out there, and most of them are in Zimbabwe, and they listen to this show, not live, but on YouTube. We post it there, and if we don't post it, they are pestering me, tipei chirongwa. Hand on heart, you're telling your supporters in Zimbabwe that you give me 2 weeks by the 15th of February. If Tsvangirai cannot show that he is fit to run for this general election, that the election process for a new leader is going to be triggered.
I don't know where the 2 weeks is coming from, because I never said 2 weeks.
Oh, you didn't say 2 weeks?
No, I said
so how long are you going to wait? How long are you going to wait? And
can I just correct that? Correct that?
Yeah, please do.
You said how long does it take for an election to be put in place?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's two different things altogether. So what I'm saying is, organizing an election, it doesn't take more than 2 weeks. That's what I said. But I'm not saying that it's starting today.
Okay.
I'm saying in the event that a decision has been made.
All right. I think Tanzengana one thing. Tanzengana pamwechete. Now, yourself as a party, Vatsvangirai vari kurwara. At what time? This is what I want to know. At what time are you going to say, guys, we cannot wait for Tsvangirai now here? Is there a point where you say mukasvika musi wa 20 May or musi wa 30 June motaura kuti really we need a leader here now? This is what I'm asking you.
Yeah, that is the prerogative of the National Council.
Right.
Okay?
You can't answer that.
This is why I'm saying behind the scenes, every situation is being monitored by the necessary body, and this is the National Council that will make decision.
Okay.
And that decision, once it's made, it will be communicated. It will not be behind the scenes.
All right. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
The due process has to be taken.
Has to be taken.
Can I just clarify one point?
All right.
I never said in 2 weeks. I never said in 2 weeks. Tsvangirai anenga apora atotsoka ave to campaign ave leader when Gigi Alliance.
Okay, what did you say?
I said Tsvangirai is going to recover, and he is the president of the MDC alliance, and he is the front of the alliance.
Okay.
And I am 100% he's going to recover and lead us into the election, and I still stand by that.
Okay.
At the present moment, Mr. Pepe is clarifying that there are contingent measures, and you asked me if there were contingent measures, and I said yes, there were contingent measures, and there's no shortage of leaders to take over in the event that he dies. People don't want to talk about him dying. He can die, anybody can die.
Yes.
Okay. There are contingent measures, and there will be a leader.
So Sekuru, this succession process will only be triggered if Tsvangirai dies. If he is still in hospital, he is still the front of this revolution.
There are two realities that we must face. It's either the National Council, in its own wisdom, sits and says, no, we can't go into this with a sick person, or they decide we will wait and go into this with a sick person. At the present moment, the position that is holding is that he is still the leader of the alliance, and he is the candidate still in the race for the presidential section of the election. Alternatively, the other position is that Tsvangirai himself is not a stupid person. He might say, look guys, takafamba hwenu, nyama dzarema dzahwadza, I can no longer carry on, I'm quitting. Can you trigger the process of replacing me? And then that process will be triggered in accordance with what Mr. Pepe is telling you. Okay. So either way, so there are two ways. The National Council can do that, or he can trigger it himself.
Now, in an event, Sekuru, that the National Council decides not to trigger that, Tsvangirai decides not to say kuti inini ndarwara handichazvigoni, and come June, Wanamnangagwa say elections are there, Tsvangirai's name will be on the ballot paper, and you expect people of Zimbabwe to go and vote for him in a bed in a hospital in South Africa.
If that happens, which is highly unlikely, if that happens, because the assumption there is that people in MDC are so stupid they can't decide, they can't make a decision when it matters. When a point is reached that it's no longer tenable for us to keep him on the ballot paper, that decision will be made, and I'm sure there are too many capable minds in the MDC to make that decision.
Sekuru, I'm just playing an advocate here, because
I know what you are saying.
For how long are you going to wait? If these elections were 4 or 5 years down the line, you have got time. But now, in terms of a political, time scale, you don't have a minute here.
Let me give you the long and short answer for that. We are going to wait for as long as it takes.
Okay. All right. Fair enough, Sekuru. Mkomata wafadzwa kwa America. Welcome to the show. Sorry, Majoina trip I heated debate na mapebe. I'm just trying to ask them the questions that the people are asking. You know, the voiceless. The questions that the voiceless are asking. That's what I'm asking them here.
Yeah. And I am not young heated. It already heated Soro Mango.
As an MDC supporter yourself, hand on heart, this is a bit scary, isn't it?
No, my honest truth is that what's going on is very disappointing, at least for me as an MDC supporter. I especially dislike what's going on between all these Chamisa, Mujuru, and Amai Mujuru, all trying to jostle or to prove to one another or to between the three of them that I'm more superior or I should be the one. I'm very disappointed because it is actually weakening our position and weakening the processes that we're supposed to be engaging in towards the election. And my hope is that whatever happens, say in the case that our president comes to a point where he can't stand for the election, inini shuiro yangu ndeyekuti tinodzoka kunoitwa Congress, members of voter or provinces, whichever way it's done, for a new president. Handizive kuti ndo role ye-National Council kuti inokwanisa kuita call for a Congress, a quick one and extraordinary, so that the people elect their leader, or even though are not selected. Because this issue of selection of leaders, very good within our party, because but it should not, that's not what we want. When somebody is elected by the people, it holds power, it holds weight, and it's by the letter of our constitution. So those are true good. So, you know, Jono Moyo, because party, you're defending the party, but you know, from inside the room,
now, you are a very intelligent person yourself. I know that for a fact. Imimi. Let's not take the emotions. Let's not take the emotions into this. I know you regard Tsvangirai very highly, and you'd like him. A proper heroes the Eka to Zimbabwe. No one deserves to go there than this man. No one deserves to go there than this man. And I'll raise my hand for that. But Imimi, what do you think is the way forward? As we speak right now, what is the way forward here? Amuskutaura as a party, Imimi, you as an emotional supporter here. Chingotaura as a supporter, right? Inini chandofunga kuti zvinofana kuitika apaka. It's A, B, C, and D. This is not good, isn't it?
Right, and so Inini is looking at it, trying to be neutral about it.
Yeah.
My candidate would still be Morgan Tsvangirai.
Right.
In a situation where at least we can see he exhibits health, or he has been allowed by his doctors, or there is a clean bill of health, which he can be able to stand for an election. He would still be my candidate, despite obviously of the time delays, the time lost, and all these other fracasses that have been going on. He would be my candidate. Now, in the instance and where it is said that, no, he may not be at risk of dying, but his health is not good enough to continue to pursue my campaigns and to lead the party. Then
which Mkoma Tafadzwa? I'm looking from outside. I'm looking from outside, Mkoma. I follow politics all over the world. I mean, you look at what Donald Trump there did, and Clinton. You understand? You have to go and campaign, and you have to campaign 4 months before an election, and there's no campaign from the MDC leader. That is unacceptable in my books. Anyway.
Right. And so it's unfortunate, obviously, and the unfortunate part is just that his health declined towards an important phase in the whole electoral campaign. It's not the lack of foresight, but it's just an unfortunate timing of events. This is when it happened, and then there's also a possibility that he could actually recuperate to fitness. And so, as thinking of it neutrally, I would wait until I would not try to be too quick to call to press the gun or to shoot the gun and say, no, Nasi, we're moving forward. He's off the outlook on my election. I think it's a little too soon, but we're getting to that critical point as well. Saga, the window, it's very, very small now, in my opinion. And if it point, my hope is we go back to the Constitution, elect a new president who, for me as an MDC person, will support despite of what and what may, as long as Munye are elected Nevano. But at this zero man, Mr. President, Is that a possibility, or is this person who may replace our president may be appointed?
Can I just add? Can I add that?
Okay.
Right. I'm in touch with the president more often. He's a reasonable man, and let me assure the people, our listeners out there in Zimbabweans and the MDC supporters, that the party will not let them down and the president will not let them down. And so both the president and the party are aware of the time factor, and we are monitoring the situation. And definitely, I can assure you that he will not disappoint the people of Zimbabwe. Now, further to that, I think the question was whether the person will be, in the event that the President Tsvangirai is not going to contest because of poor health, whether that person is going to be appointed or elected. Let me draw you to the Constitution of MDC, which is Section 9 of subsection 21. It declares in the event that either the president or the vice president or any elected member, but let me stop at the president there, because I think this is the focus at the moment. That an extraordinary Congress will be called. So it will not. There's no provision for an appointment, but there's a provision for an extraordinary Congress to elect a successor. So which means that that person will have to be elected and given the mandate by the Electoral College, which is the support base of the MDC, and then everybody else will rally behind the winner.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Can I add something on that? Can I add something to that?
Okay.
All those people that are presently within positions are not the only ones entitled to contest for the presidency.
Correct.
Any member of the MDC in good standing, like me, if I want to contest, I can contest provided I get the nominations required.
Correct.
So at the present moment, the question that was coming from Tafaga is, are you going to appoint or are you going to elect? We are going to elect. That is the answer.
Okay, right. Okay, thank you so much. This one is saying that MDC cannot do anything because they build the party around Tsvangirai. As such, they are stuck. Thank you so much. This one is saying that the baton should be passed on, though we sympathize with the situation. Tsvangirai. That's that one saying. Now, Sisi Rose.
Yeah.
I've got 2 minutes for you.
Nah,
Right. Saka, imimi, you are going to the ballot with Tsvangirai's name on, whether he is on a deathbed in South Africa, whether he's dead, whether he's alive. That's your candidate.
Well, dead is different. You know, I mean.
But if he is still, alive, but with no strength to go and campaign, he is the candidate.
Yeah, but MDC is already campaigning.
Oh, okay.
They're on the ground campaigning. It's not like people are not campaigning. People are campaigning already, and people know who the candidate is. If something happens, and I believe MDC will do what they need to do when the situation permits, or if it comes down to it. But I personally believe Zimbabwe needs. If I pray, and I'm not even I'm an agnostic. I pray that Zimbabwe gets to transition with Tsvangirai. That's my prayer.
All right. Aywa, thank you so much for that. It's very intriguing, the messages that are coming here. Tete Nomazulu, please, can I give you 2 minutes there? What's your take on this one? You would go and vote for Tsvangirai even if he's in a deathbed in South Africa there. Sorry for using this language, but it's just an example here.
No, definitely not. I feel it's just too late for MDC to choose somebody.
Yeah, with 4 months down the line.
Yeah, it's just too late. You know.
So what do they do now? So what do they do now?
Why is it taking so long just to decide? You know, there is so much confusion, Muzano. You know, it's high time they put their things together. You know, what makes them disagree with each other. You know, they should put their disagreements, you know, aside and focus on my elections. Is that very difficult to do? You know, these elections, they are very determining. Yeah? They having lost so much. This was the time, this was the opportunity, yeah, to say, look, we are going to defeat this illegitimate government. I don't know why. Yeah.
Fine.
I would put that question back to Mr. Sezi, you know, and ask him, why is it taking so long?
No, wapindura katete, wapindura uti Tsvangirai is still there, so they shouldn't be tapua ma scenarios that could trigger to that. But I'm Makadaro, Mukoma Wilbert, please 2 minutes, and this is not time. What's your take on this? Would you go and vote for Tsvangirai in hospital?
No, I think just like ZANU-PF had a new resurgence in popularity when Mugabe was replaced by Mnangagwa. MDC, I believe, would have a similar thing. Although up to the time of the coup, in ZANU-PF circles, everybody was saying, in fact, the Congress was going to endorse Mugabe as the candidate for the coming elections. And yet, when he was booted out, all of a sudden, everybody was behind Mnangagwa. I honestly think the MDC could actually have a new resurgence if they were to bite the bullet and say, okay, we need a new direction as well. And I think this would have been the wonderful opportunity for them to do that. But unfortunately, I think it's not for us to try to tell them what to do, but it's their decision, it's their party. But to me, I think it is a pity that they've lost the opportunity. Because whoever they're going, even if they were to replace him now, a few months is not enough time for the person to bed in and really make an impact. And that is another thing about elections. You know, you do not change somebody in the last minute and you don't give them a chance to bed in. You know, and that would have been the opportunity if they had said it and stuck to their original constitution where an individual serves 2 terms and then is replaced. You are able to refresh yourself and get on with the business of change of direction. But unfortunately, MDC, they've missed the boat on that one.
Right. Let me answer that one. Let me put that to rest. The Constitution of Zimbabwe says, in the event of a presidential candidate dying before an election, the election will be postponed by 90 days. 90 days is considered enough for that party to come up with a new presidential candidate. So we are not in the 90-day period, are we?
Okay, all right. Fair enough, Sekuru. Thank you so much for that. Tete Sali.
Yes, DJ Sodza.
Yeah, I know you're not a MDC sympathizer yourself, but looking from outside without taking emotions into this, what's your 2 minutes on this, Sally? And I mean 2 minutes here.
They've missed the boat. And I think that, look, I've got sympathy for Tsvangirai. I have got a great deal of admiration for him. Okay? I think he kind of lost his way when his wife was killed. I think she was a great power behind the man. Okay? He seemed to have much more direction and purpose when she was alive. Okay? But I seriously, as far as I'm concerned, as soon as he found out what he had, he should have said, guys, listen, I need a sabbatical, okay? I've got to get myself together. We're coming up to a very, very important election, okay? So let's open it up to the people, and I'll be in the background, okay? But you see, this is the problem. I know Sekuru and everybody that's MDC fights this, but the party has been built around Changurai, okay? So leaving it to such a late stage, it's going to be very hard for somebody, even a well-known face, and please don't let it be Chamisa, to come in, okay, and now lead the party to election. It's going to be very, very difficult. I'm sad to see that it's come to this. I really am, because I think it's a great dishonor to the legacy of Changurai. I really do. I think it's a great dishonor. But, I mean, MDC people must do what they think is best, and that's... But those are my thoughts on it.
Right, okay, can we get something coming through here from, is it Cliff? Yes, Cliff. Kwanziko DJ Maswera say, thanks, mabvunza mibvunzo yakanaka, but Mr. Pevena Sekuru, surely your party MDC need to be serious. You cannot act like this where it's crucial. Do you care about Changirai or Zimbabwe at large? We sympathize with Changirai kuti he may get well, but madi kuti azorore. Mukatadza ipapa, then zvapera, and vana veZimbabwe will never ever forgive you. This is the time.
Can I answer that? Can I answer that?
Yeah, let me just finish off. This is the time where a real leader should be going around telling people how illegitimate this coup government is. Not to be led by Jonathan Moyo telling people that it is illegitimate. Sekuru, you may go in.
The problem with that man is that whenever we talk about MDC, they say it's a Changrai's party. Whenever we say it's Changrai's party, let him lead. They say no, he must not lead it. So we have a problem. We have a problem with that. We have a big problem with that because the assumption is that MDC without Changrai cannot campaign. It can. It is campaigning. The problem with these people, and I want to extend a sincere invitation to this guy. Can you come and join us, be a member in good standing, and do what is required of you in the constitution, so that we do what you want us to do together.
Nani? Na Jonathan.
Anyora tsamba.
Mkoma Cliff wanyora tsamba kuno.
An invitation yokuti, can you join us, become a member in good standing, and then cause for the situation that is agitating for. Atidi vanhu vanoti vari kumba kwavo wodaidzira zvokumba kwomwe munhu kuti iwe ita zvakati kumba kwako, kautorwa mukadzi wakoko, kautorwa murume wakoko, aiwa pinda mumba mugaremo kuti ngatirohani.
Mukoma zvanzi huyai mudariro titsve tirimo tiri tese adeti and change it within inside.
Yes.
It didn't work with ZANU-PF.
Well, but it worked because they now have got a new president, don't they?
They haven't got a new president.
They have a new president, Mnangagwa. They have got a new.
It's not Mnangagwa, it's Chiwenga, and he's been there all the time.
So you are saying they've got a new president. It's not Mugabe anymore, is it?
But he wasn't elected.
It doesn't matter, but they have a new, because somebody went in there.
Right. Okay. Aywa.
It's not. Nothing's changed.
Yeah, nothing
you
has
know
changed.
that. So don't use ZANU-PF.
No, my challenge to you, Sade, I don't think it's too difficult. It costs you, how much does it cost you? $60 or whatever for a year, per year.
To do what?
Be a member. To be a member in good standing. Join. Come at the table, your motion, and then we discuss it.
No.
So can I ask you then to listen? Then when Peve and I tell you this is what we are going to do, then listen.
Sekuru, I can listen, but I also have my own ideas.
Yeah, but your ideas are not going to help because you are not part of the.
I'm not asking them to help.
Well, so
I was
now what do we do?
My ideas. I gave my ideas. That's
what
it.
do we do? The members that we talk to tell us this is what we should do.
Then you do it.
Yes,
it's got
and we're doing
to do
it.
with me. I'm just telling you my ideas. I'm not telling you, this is what you must do. This is what you have to do.
All right. Okay.
I don't know, maybe Mzukuru wangu Pevemeti might want to add something to that because inini ndo this stand up politician kind. Anapeva must stand up politician. In the background politician, right? So
I'm just a street woman with a that's it.
All right.
What I'm saying is that Peve might have a better way of putting it across, or might have a different way of putting it across.
No.
But my point.
Sekuru, I want to ask you something. Why, because I'm not an MDC supporter, must I keep my mouth shut?
No. We are saying when you answer it and you persist, then we don't know what you want us to do.
But I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm just telling you what I think.
Okay.
Of all the people who have spoken, other than me, Peve and the Mzukuru wangu America, everybody else says you have missed the boat. It's just we are saying we are in the boat and we are in the front of the rest.
Because that's what we feel.
Well, so what we do then, because we listen to our members.
What you want to do. You do what you want to do.
All right.
Okay. Can I say one thing? Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
Before we go? Maybe if we had media reforms and the opposition was covered, then we would know they were campaigning.
Sorry. Phone young guys
Yeah, all right.
Because they are campaigning.
Yeah, we can hear what you're saying, that you're campaigning, but there's no media coverage, so you're not seen, by the public that you're actually doing something because it's not being covered. Is that right?
No, but you know what the media is covering? The media is covering everything about Chamisa.
But Chamisa is a different story. It's all over social media that he just turned 40 today and he can be president now. So, that's Chamisa. But I'm saying, Kuti, if there was more coverage, people would actually, everything that happens in ZANU-PF, if Mnangagwa is going to church, everybody knows. It's on ZBC. So with MDC, a lot of stuff that actually happens. MDC is campaign. I'll tell you, who started doing rallies before ZANU-PF actually started those youth interface rallies? It was the opposition in there that started its youth interface rallies before ZANU-PF picked up on the idea and started. Opposition it's because they just don't know. But something is going on.
Right, okay. Now, thank you so much, guys. I must say, Kunatete Paula, I know you were a bit shocked, Mama. Paying Chase is alive and kicking. We were just saying, could in an event that could have cheap, but anyhow, paying you, and we wish him a speedy recovery, actually. And those are Zimbabwe. It's 12 minutes after midnight here. My thanks to the panel, Tete Sali, Tete Rosie, Tete Nomazulu, Mkoma Wilbert, Asekuru, Wapeve, And Mkoma Tawanda, you called in you called in as well and participate there. Thank you so much, my brother, for that. And I cannot thank you enough. Without you guys, there will be no show. Zvatakuita panapa isusu takurwa marata tosangana sondo rinotevera pane chimwe chechirongwa tichikurukura dzimwe nyaya dzinenge dziri kubva kuZimbabwe uko maererano nematongerwe enyika yeZimbabwe. Ndokusirai makateerera kukambo kubva kuna Sifas Mashakada kubuda nemuchitungwiza umu achiti iye basa ndasiya ndapedza. And you know, it's unfortunate that he passed away before he could produce more fabulous gospel music in a makitare anonwisa mvura kudai. But you know, we still enjoy his music. May his soul rest in peace there. Zimbabwe, have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next week. Cheerio and goodbye.
Rosie, you're not...
Happy birthday.